Would you like to 10x your productivity and stop feeling so overworked and overwhelmed? Welcome to the Extreme Productivity Podcast with New York Times bestselling author and Inc. 500 entrepreneur, Kevin Kruse.
Welcome. Looking at my calendar today and in the days ahead, I'm reminded by why we do this, why we want extreme productivity with less stress, of course. Tonight, I'm taking my son to a Trenton Thunder minor league baseball game. It's part of his school's father-son trip, special event. Tomorrow, my daughter I'm going to see her off to her senior prom, senior in high school. There's soccer games this weekend with my son that I'll be going to. I just booked a half-day walking tour in Venice, Italy for me and my middle daughter, Natalie. We'll be going in August, just a special trip. And I can do all this kid stuff, dad stuff, parenting stuff, family stuff, because I am wired in throughout the day. I'm massively productive, and I just know that I get so much more done than mere mortals out there. And you can too. If we can achieve extreme productivity at work, we will have the time and the energy to spend with our family or to just, sleep, read, exercise, whatever it is you want to do. Now, in the last episode, I shared 2 productivity secrets from 2 super fast professional writers. In this episode, we're going to get a lesson in minimalism from the Dalai Lama. But first, if you want to print out a copy of my 3210 email mastery system so that you can cut your email processing time in half and get to inbox zero, doesn't cost you a thing. All you need to do is text the word achieve to 44222 or head on over to my website, productivity-podcast.com. So what does the Dalai Lama keep in his small red bag? My favorite story about the Dalai Lama was from an article in the newspaper, the Globe and Mail, way back in 2002. That was a long time ago. Now, Dalai Lama, he travels around the world all the time, teaches people about Buddhism, the plight of the Tibetan people. And as a monk, he doesn't have a lot of possessions, but he always is known for carrying around a small red bag wherever he goes. And according to this reporter who covered his event, someone in the audience asked him, their question was, what do you have in your bag? What do you keep in your bag? So the Dalai Lama immediately opened it up and pulled everything out for people to see. He says he carries this bag with him always, wherever he travels around the world. What's in it? A chocolate bar, a case for his reading glasses, a toothbrush, some Kleenex tissues, and then he pulled out a single piece of candy, which he promptly unwrapped and popped into his mouth. So the question is, why do I like this story so much? Why do I love what the Dalai Lama, what his prized red bag possessions are? I mean, think about how much stuff do you carry with you when you travel? And is too much stuff in your life, in your metaphorical bag of life, is it taking away from your time? Is it taking away from your enjoyment? Is it taking away from your ability to enjoy the present? As I like to say, one of my rules, more stuff, more work. Most of my friends at this point, former business partners and colleagues and neighbors, most of them, they all have second homes. Some of them have a penthouse in New York. I live out in the suburbs in Bucks County outside of Philadelphia. A lot of people have shore homes, beach homes down at the Jersey Shore. Some have ski cabins in the Poconos. And my friends are always shocked that I don't have a vacation home. I don't have a second home that I go to during the summer or to ski from in the winter. I don't ski. What they don't realize that, I listen very carefully when they talk about their vacation homes or their second homes. And I never really hear them talk that much about all the joy they're getting from them. They don't usually talk about their homes and talk about how much fun they're having. What I usually hear is I'm hearing about their second homes when they have to deal with, like, the home got broken into, and was robbed over the weekend, and they've got to deal with the police and find, someone to go put in a new window and new locks or something. I remember hearing about all their shore homes when Hurricane Sandy put 3 feet of water in their first floor. And, they had to completely deal with that and gut the home, deal with insurance and all of that. I definitely hear about it when they say they've rented the home out, for the summer because they weren't going to use it, or for a certain month when they were going to be at another one of their homes. And the people they rented it to trashed the place, and now they're fighting with the renters to try to, get money to get it fixed up. So the second home is just one example to show a truth that really all objects come with a cost. Maybe a financial cost, and I think usually a mental cost and a time cost. The bigger the house you have, the more rooms there are that need to be cleaned. Every electronic gadget, I like electronic gadgets. And then I buy them and get them, or they get shipped to me or whatever. And I realize, oh man, I need to take the time to set it up, learn how to use it. It needs to be stored somewhere. I got a Bluetooth pair it with my cars or whatever. Ultimately they break and they need to get fixed. Swimming pools and hot tubs, they need to be cleaned and repaired, and chemicals, all these things, they do come at a cost. There's an old joke, I'm sure you've probably heard it, about the guy who buys a boat, fishing boats. He has this dream of just going out on the ocean or going out on the lake, fishing on his summer weekends. And they always say the same thing. The 2 best days of his life were the day he bought the boat and the day he sold the boat. Because boats are a lot of work. I mean, I've never owned one, but I've certainly been out on them and with my friends. And, it's a lot of work to prep the boat and get it ready to go out on the water. And then you come back and you dock it, and you got to put everything away and lock it up and hose it down and clean the boat. And you got to get the boat into the water at the beginning of the season, out of the water, and rent docks, and there's insurance and, all kinds of stuff. Best day of their life is when they buy the boat. Second best day of their life is when they sell the boat. And, look, I don't have boats. I've got 3 cars right now, and I'm thinking about getting rid of them because it does seem with 3 cars every single month, it's like one needs an annual inspection, or the registration is due, or insurance needs to get renewed, or I've got a flat tire. I think I've had 3 or 4 flat tires in the last 4 or 5 months. They're time for an oil change, whatever it is. Every month there's some time thing I've got to do, some mental energy I've got to do for these cars. Now, look, not all things are bad. We don't all have to become Buddhist monks and give up all of our possessions. I've got expensive toys. I have some mementos. I love my flat screen TVs and my Kindle and my MacBook Air. But we just have to remember, think twice before we buy more things, before we acquire more things. We don't need to put everything into one small red bag, but let's take some inspiration from the Dalai Lama, who clearly doesn't need a lot of stuff in order to feel happy, in order to feel at peace, in order to feel like he's making a difference. So how can we apply all this Dalai Lama talk to our day job, to our real world life? Well, one thing that minimalism, which is really what we're talking about, reminds me of is also like the 80-20 rule, Pareto principle. And that's, the rule that says usually you get 80% of the results from about 20% of your effort or activities. 20% of sales representatives usually generate about 80% of a company's sales. 20% of your customers, your best clients, are going to be giving you 80% of your profits. In software, they say like 20% or less of software bugs will cause 80 to 90% of the major crashes. So instead of just trying to get everything done, of course, it makes sense for us to focus on the minimal 20%. 80-20 is a form of minimalism. And so, at work, think of all the stuff you spend your time on in any given day or any given week. how many of them are really linked to maxing out your bonus or to the goals on your annual performance review? How many of those things are going to get noticed to the point where you're going to get that next promotion? I'll bet you could dial back, become minimalistic in terms of what you are spending your time on. And when it comes to stuff in our life, acquiring more things, just remember the time cost. Just remember how little is in Dalai Lama's little red bag. All right, my friends, if you like this episode, make sure you don't miss the next one. Subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher, and next week, listen in as I explain why everyone needs a personal assistant. And I'm sure you're like, yeah, I do. And I'm going to even say how you can get one or kind of get one, even if you think you can't afford one. Until then, remember, master your minutes to master your life.